Well, let's see now. We have on our team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out, the guy's name. That's what I want to find out, the guy's name.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
Estamos pasábamos yo y mi hermana la grande Victoria 10 años. Cuando acabó la guerra, mi padre turnó.
Çünkü bazı hani elektrikler şeyler olmuyor. O zaman ne yapacaksın? Mecbur ışıldığıyla çağıracaksın.
A lot of young people and adults find themselves either expected to learn a foreign language or they themselves decide to learn a foreign language. And in the Western world in the year 2017, this typically takes place inside of a foreign language classroom. 4 walls, chalkboard, teacher, desks, students, little posters on the wall. And in this language learning setting, a teacher will give tasks to students, assign homework, worksheets, have you read from a textbook, have you read from a reader, give you little things to do. For example, write a scenario where somebody's lost in a city and they want to find somewhere to go. Another task that is given to students is to write a short description of something you did in the past. For example, describe your day yesterday. And of course, you are a good student, so when you're in this classroom setting, you start writing away, describing what you did yesterday, and you ask, for example, for the word up, because you want to say that you got up at 8 in the morning. And so you ask your teacher for the word up, and she'll answer. This is a Spanish classroom, and she will say, arriba or hacia arriba. And you're a diligent student, so you sit down, you start writing this paragraph, and it says, hoy tomé arriba a 8 en la mañana, yo estuve cansado. Well, I don't know if you know Spanish, but basically, that is an absolutely terrible, direct, word-for-word translation of the English. It's the kind of thing that me and my teacher friends used to laugh at a lot. But that's not really fair, because what else are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to know how to say this if you've never seen it before? And what this video is about the fact that when you're learning a foreign language, or even when you're translating as a professional translator, you know that, or you should know that, you cannot translate word for word the meaning of different languages. In fact, something as simple as the word brick may not be able to be translated because different cultures have different conceptions of what constitutes the word brick. In one culture, the word brick might describe 10 things, whereas in another culture, the equivalent for the word brick may describe fewer or more things. It's just that you wouldn't call brick in English. So really what you have to do, instead of translating word for words, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I want to communicate in terms of many things? So let's say you want somebody across from you to sit down. You think to yourself, I want this person to sit down. So in English, you say something like, why don't you have a seat? And if the person across from you is a fluent English speaker, they'll think that and they'll sit down. However, if you were to translate this word for word into foreign languages, you'd get different effects. For example, ¿por qué no tomas asiento? In Spanish, sounds a little odd to me. Neden oturak almıyorsun in Turkish is atrocious. It doesn't really have any meaning. It sounds like gobbledygook. And warum nimmst du nicht einen Stuhl? It sounds like a literal question in German, as opposed to the polite way of asking somebody to have a seat. This, again, reinforces the fact that you cannot translate word for word. In this prior example of asking somebody to sit down, you're taking into account several factors: how polite you want to be, what style do you want to say it in. Do you want to be old-timey? Do you want to be funny? Do you want to be direct? Etc., etc. Of course, the rational person says to themselves, well, how am I expected to say something in this new language if I've never seen or heard it before? What else can I do but translate? That is sort of a catch-22. What you have to be aware, though, is that the things that you know in your native language, you learned over a period of, say, 15, 20 years or more. And you're trying to figure out how to say things in a foreign language in a period of, say, 10 weeks. That's not a reasonable expectation. Furthermore, your communicative needs are far greater than you expect. If you were trying to learn just the baby language of the foreign language, the baby talk, you'd be okay. Because a baby, all they really need to do to communicate is the fact that they're hungry, the fact that they pooped on themselves, the fact that they peed on themselves, the fact that they have a diaper rash, the fact that they're tired. It's a very one-ended, sort of selfish relationship. I want these things, give them to me. And you make the other person work really hard to figure out precisely what it is that you want because you're not being direct or clear. As an adult, however, not only are you expected to be more clear and more direct and put more nuance in your language, but also you have more nuanced things to say. How are you expected to communicate all the rage and anger and frustration and bitterness and angst that you have pent up inside of you in a foreign language within 10 weeks? So here we come to the advice section of the video. How can you get to practice? you can be goddamn sure that working out of a language textbook is not really going to be all that helpful. Language textbooks teach you how to be really good at translating, but they don't teach you how to study the language, they don't teach you how to live the language, and they don't teach you how things are really said in the language, at least not very well. What you have to do is you have to either put yourself where the language is spoken, and having done that, put yourself in as many social situations as possible. Going to the bank, going to the store, hanging out with friends, drinking coffee, running from the police, basic cultural things you have to do in everyday life. If you cannot go study the language where the language is spoken, then what you do is you watch as many of these cultural things as you can. Living in the age of social media, access to pirated movies, this shouldn't be too difficult. Find native speakers who have Instagram accounts or who keep up with Instagram or whatever social media is popular in that country, and ask them for the popular social media people. Watch them and ask your friends for help with words you don't know. Ask them for their favorite movies. Find out what the most popular crappy novels are. Don't try to read sophisticated literature at first. Read the crappy novels. Read the, what's it called? Housewife porn? Yeah, housewife porn. Read that stuff. That is where you get the real language, the everyday language. Something that is absolutely phenomenal are graphic novels. Graphic novels are phenomenal. Graphic novels are basically TV series or crappy drama, but on the page. And so the dialogue you can read, and you can write notes under it and ask because it doesn't go by real fast. You don't have any of the complex adjective descriptors of scenes because those are literally drawn on the page. Graphic novels are absolutely phenomenal. How do you ask someone to sit down? Well, you can be gosh darn sure if you watch the right TV series or you read the right graphic novels, you will see people inviting each other to sit down or to stand up. The key is to just chip away at it every day, read something, watch something, listen to something, write something, talk to somebody, and sure enough, with time, you will begin to understand how things are said, what words mean politeness, what words mean rudeness, etc., etc., etc. Well, so that's it for my first illustrated video. I hope you learned something, and I hope you are left with more questions than you have answers. That's always the pathway to learning things. In future videos, I'll expound upon topics that I briefly mentioned here, things about pragmatics and what is a language, aspect, all sorts of stuff. Some videos will have to do with how to learn a language, some videos will have to do with what a language is, parts of languages, what communication is, and other videos will hopefully have to do with cool things like stuff in the plant kingdom and other things I find interesting, generally speaking. In the future, I hope production quality increases, I hope my videos get better, and I really thank you for watching it all the way through the end. That said, like, share, subscribe, and do whatever it is that is expected to you under these, whatever else is expected of you. Or something like that. Anyway, take care.